Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the circuit of Lommel. It's round 14 of the FIM Motocross World Championship, the MXGP of Belgium. And this notoriously deep sand circuit here in the north of the country is going to prove to be a real challenge for MX2 Race 2. We had a fantastic opening race earlier. My name is Paul Malin. Alongside me, Jason Thomas from Fly Racing. And Jason Thomas, welcome to our broadcast here. We've got 20 or 30 minutes plus 2 laps, MX2 Race 2 coming up. And first one was a real test. We'll show the highlights in a moment, but there were 1 or 2 impressive performances around what is a very tough racetrack.
Yeah, excited to be here. It's been a great weekend so far. Really anxious to see how these guys respond after a really tough first moto.
Well, 27 degrees and climbing, because yesterday race conditions were about 19 degrees, a lot cooler than they are today, and that is significant around a circuit as tough as this.
Yeah, it's going to be really rough and tumble. You know, we could just see from the first moto, these guys on the podium, they were feeling it, so they've had an hour to recover. Hopefully they're ready to put on show.
Well, as you can see, the MX2 riders are on their sighting lap here just to have a look one final time before they take to the grid for MX2 Race 2. And if you missed it earlier, here's what happened in MX2 Race 1. The gate dropped, and it was Jorge Prado over on the left side that grabbed his 18th Vauxhall shot. But watch at the back as we go wide into the second corner. A guy in red goes down. That was Jago Kiert on the Monster Energy Khmer Yamaha, the home favorite. He picked himself up in 31st place, but by lap 2, he was already into 8th position. Up front, though, is Prado, his teammate Vial, the 2 Kawasaki's of Jacoby and Sterry, and Olsen also making a charge, but he got pushed wide there by Ben Watson, Jason.
Yeah, we went into this moto hoping that we'd see the battle between Prado and Geerts. Never really materialized, but what a ride from Geerts to get all the way back to second by the end.
Olsen eventually did find his way past Watson to get himself up into 4th place, and then he went after the 2 Kawasaki's ahead of him. First one was Jacoby, as Geerts made light work of everybody coming through the field. Past Verlander and Cyril Janot in this particular corner here. And then Verlander fell down to 11th position. He would eventually come back to 7th. Geerts up the inside of Jacoby. And then around Maxime Renault on the Yamaha. And he was looking really impressive at the head of the field. He made his pass on his teammate here, Watson, as he moved up into 5th place. Thomas Olsen, though, was having a great ride in 4th until this happened. Off the side of the track, he was down for a couple of laps. More on that in a moment. But in the latter stages of the race, Calvin Verlander got the better of Jacoby. Jacoby eventually faded to 8th place. But Geerts wasn't done yet. Took advantage of a mistake from Adam Sterry. That put the Belgian into 3rd. He then went after Vial here for 2nd. And for the last 5 laps, he was in cruise mode, hoping to conserve some energy for race 2.
Yeah, the top 2 kind of settled, and I think both of them realized that there's going to be a really tough battle ahead for both, and you could see both of them conserving the whole way down the stretch.
But Jorge Prado, though, his 23rd race win of the season in MX2 Race 1. So they were the highlights of MX2 Race 1. Let's go down to Lisa. She caught up with Adrian Van Beveren, a Monster Energy Yamaha Dakar rider. Let's hear what he has to say.
Hello and welcome to the start of the second MX2 race of the day. And we have another guest with us who's no stranger to the world of motocross. It's Adrian Van Beveren. Adrian, firstly, good to see you here. But just tell us, what have you been up to?
Hello, I've been very busy the last time. I'm super happy to be here today. I really love the feeling of MXGP, you know, the motocross feeling. I was born on that, you know. I was racing, the last race was Silk Rally from Russia to China. I finished 3rd, was a good podium, you know, the 2nd round of the World Championship. So I've been busy with the rally. We are developing a new bike. I'm super happy with the work of the team. Yamaha is pushing a lot. We are looking for our big goal, can be the victory at the Dakar rally, you know. So yeah, was very busy last month.
But of course, you're here in Lommel, the only one that you've actually managed to get to this year, your first motocross race. But you actually raced here before, haven't you? You've raced this sand track here in Lommel in MXGP class, haven't you?
Yeah, that's it. It's true. Well, I promise you it's very, very difficult to ride on this kind of sand. I was a specialist of the sand, you know, by Le Touquet race, beach races. But this kind of sand is very different. It's super hard. The base is hard, so you cannot cross the line. You have to respect the line and try to be smooth. But I promise you that for the riders, I remember when I was racing here, that it's very, very struggling physically. You have to be focused all the way because the bike catch you sometimes, you know. It's very, very difficult track, and much more. I enjoy so much to see the technique of the guys. I look at everybody, and for me was super cool that Romain won the first moto. I really appreciate the way you ride the bike today. I'm a true passionate, you know. Yeah. So for me to see that, it's like kind of a kid feeling.
But of course, you are wearing a Yamaha racing shirt. Roman did a fantastic first race. It did take a lot out of him. Who do you think the GP is going to go to this weekend?
Wow, it's for him. No, for sure.
You have to say that.
No, I don't have to say that. I say that because I think that, you know. I really think he did a very good job. Yeah. It's difficult. You cannot go so fast on this kind of track because you have to respect also your physique. And I think he managed very, very good. So yeah, I hope I cross my finger for him and for all the Yamaha guys. But I enjoy so much also to be with friends because, you know, I was racing with them when I was kid. We were doing the French championships. And for me, I am now in a different activity, but to be able to share with them for a weekend, it's always fine.
Okay, well, Adrian, great to have you here. Enjoy the rest of the afternoon. Thank you. Adrian Van Beveren there. Okay, good luck to all the guys here. It's time for MX2 Race 2.
MX2 Race 2 just around the corner then. Here's how the top 5 look now coming into Race 2. Jorge Prado now 115 points clear of Thomas Olsen, with Jago Kiet, Tom Vial and Henry Jacobi your top 5. Here's how the riders line up for MX2 Race 2, the MXGP of Belgium. Jorge Prado on pole for the 10th time this year, the last of those 8 in a row, all the way back to France. Calvin Verlander goes to line second, ahead of Tom Vial, Jago Kiet, Ben Watson, and then Henry Jacobi, Adam Sterry, Thomas Olsen, Cyril Genot, and the rest of the guys. You'll see them on screen. Jason Thomas, Fly Racing, welcome to our broadcast here. You've been with us all afternoon. Race 1, Jorge Prado, fantastic performance, and you have to think he still has reserves in the tank if he needs them.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for him to expend any energy all weekend. But in all seriousness, he's been fantastic. And then Jago Geert's going through his pre-race ritual. He's really the only one I can see challenging, but if he doesn't start with Prado, there's really no chance. So the most important part of his race is right here.
I went and spoke to team manager Marnik Bevorts about Jago Kiet, and he said he did okay, but yes, he spent some energy, but if he can get a good start and run with him, then obviously it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Fantastic ride for that guy there, Adam Sterry, coming home in 3rd on one of his favorite tracks. Yeah, Sterry was great. Vial was actually great too, but you just know these guys don't really have anything for Prado at the moment. He's got the complete package right now. And the lap times dropped by about 10 or 12 seconds in the course of race 1 because of the physical nature. Spoke to Thomas Olsen in the break as well. He crashed out of 4th position. He was just winded more than anything else, but he just couldn't work out why, though he went off the side of the track. Just maybe a setting issue. He's made some changes, so hopefully that'll be great. And he said, hopefully I can learn to jump in a straight line in this one. Yeah, that was scary. I'm just glad to see him back on the track. We just saw a brief glimpse there, number 10, Calvin Verlander, and he'll be hoping for a good start. Henry Jacobi, he was up and down there, wasn't he? Started 5th, came around about 8th, but eventually finished in 8th place as well. And Mitchell Harrison, Bud Racing, time practice, free practice, said he said to me on Saturday, underestimated the challenge here, but it was good to see Harrison come home in 12th place, a fighting 12th place as well. The Fly Racing 15-second board up for the final time for MX2. Race 2, 30 minutes plus 2 laps, round 14 of the FIM Motocross World Championship, the MXGP of Belgium. Here we are at Lommel, and we are almost go time. Prado over on the left-hand side again. Where is Jago Kiet this time? In and around the inside there. He's a little bit better, but has he left himself too much work to do. There was I think a Bud Racing Kawasaki out at the back there in the light blue colours, but hopefully there's Iago Kietz in the middle in red. So he's in about, what, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, probably about 8th or 9th position. He's going to have to work hard again, Jason Thomas, just to get on terms on this opening lap. When you give Jorge Prado that kind of advantage, then you're asking for trouble. Yeah, the two KTMs out front again. It seems like we've seen this week in and week out. And the problem is, by the time that Geerts can even get a clear track, Prado's going to be long gone. And just he's, you know, making his way now. You can already see him riding off into the distance already. So Prado leads, Vial second, Verlander in third, Watson in 4th place. Then we've got Jacoby, Olsen, Sterry, and Iago Kietz trying to go up the inside of Alvin Osland on the 161, Revo Husqvarna. But left a lot of work to do. He was 31st when he fell at the first turn, and took just 2 laps just to get inside the top 10 in 8th place. Bit more work has gone, bit of the grooming over here, because this was very treacherous in the first race. So some parts of the racetrack might be a little bit quicker than they were in race 1. Yeah, you wonder if that's going to help or hurt Geerts, because I think when the track was more rough, it was easier for him to make passes. He was making immediate passes in that first race, so you could see the track work they've done all over. I think that's just going to help the guys up front more than anything. Yeah, some of the jump faces and landings, but Prado leads, already 2.5 seconds clear of his teammate Vial. Verlander in third, Watson 4th, Olsen, Jacoby, Sterry, Kietz in 8th. He has found his way past the Husqvarna of Alvin Osland, and he's going to come into view any moment now. There he is. So up the inside. In fact, Osland responding, and so too Maxime Renault, the second of the Yamaha riders in red. You see in the background there, Prado is already through the first turn. This is the exact opposite of what Geerts needed. Yeah, already 7 seconds down as he hit the finish line, and even fighting in the last couple of corners with these riders. Prado is pulling away another 1.5 seconds, 2 seconds. So it's going to be difficult. It's not impossible, but it's going to be difficult to do it from there. But he did have good pace. Unfortunately for him, his pace was the same as Prado's in race 1. Around the outside of Sterry, up the inside of Jacoby. 2 passes in 2 corners. Both of the F&H Kawasaki's got caught napping there by Iago Kietz on the Monster Energy Khmer Yamaha in red. Yeah, you know what Prado's trying to do. He's going to try to put in some sub-2-minute lap times here on a smoother track, and by the halfway, this should be over for him. But Geerts has got to do everything he can to get to the front. The problem is, even if he's matching lap times with Prado at the moment, he's in traffic, you know, and he's spotted him 7 seconds, as you said. Sterry just making a mistake there. He gets caught and passed by his teammate, maybe just trying to follow Iago Kietz's pace. And he's going to get caught as well by the 959 and Maxime Renault on the Yamaha SM Action MC Miliori machine. Where is it? Was Harrison that went down at the first turn, because he's in 23rd place now. So 12th in race 1. For the Bud Racing Kawasaki rider. Is his teammate out there, Brian Moreau? Yes, he is, in 13th position. He had a big crash towards the end of the race, just before the finish line jump. Here's Olsen, Rockstar Energy Husqvarna. He's in 5th place behind Watson, Verlander, and Vial. Prado over the line. Fastest lap, of course, for him. 59.3, 2:01 for his teammate, and the gap 4 seconds after the opening lap. Yeah, that's really been the strategy for Prado. Go 1:59 early. No one else can go with him. Builds up a little lead, manages it, and yeah, it ends up with a 20-second lead by the end. He knows what he's doing with that. Iago Kietz looking to challenge Olsen. No injuries after his crash in race 1, but he did say he was just winded, couldn't get his air. But let's see the difference there between Kietz. Ran the outside on the back wheel, just made it look smooth there as Olsen was fighting with that Husqvarna. And Kietz tripling in, and I can only assume that Prado is doing something similar as well. Yeah, that's the unfortunate thing. I mean, his riding is incredible. He was the only, there was only a couple of them that were even close to Prado's time, but yeah, he's 8 seconds down after 1 lap. That's unfortunate. Oh, slight mistake there. Is he over-jumped, caught some braking bumps when he landed, but he's all over the back of his teammate, Ben Watson here, 919. He, in turn, is going after the HRC Honda rider, Calvin Verlander, and these two fighting for 3rd place at the moment on this 2nd lap. It is fun to watch Geerts come through the pack. I would prefer a battle up front. Oh, and Watson steams on through. Yeah, as he comes here, he's coming up on Verlander, and just watch how close he will not follow anyone, and that leads to quick passes. He's jumping long there as well over that jump. I mean, immediately to Verlander and around him. That's impressive, because Verlander is going flat out here, and it's taking Geerts no time. So Jago Kiertzen, just like in race 1, quickly onto the back of his teammate Watson. Watson struggling with hand problems, blistered and blood blisters as well, just burst in the hands, having not ridden for 6 weeks because of a broken hand, in fact, since Germany. He tried to ride in Indonesia, the first one, realized it wasn't great, dislodged the metalwork in there. And so he's had to take some time off from riding. And the effects of that, with the hot summer that we've had here, and sweating in the palms of your hands and in the gloves, just friction, and you know, you are only going to blister up. And he's doing a great job of riding through it. Marnik Bevorts, actually, the team manager, was impressed with that result in race 1 from Watson. Come home in 5th.
Yeah, it's a tough situation. What do? You ride less, you're not going to improve on the bike. If you ride more, you're going to make the blisters worse. So there's really a no-win situation there.
Verlander looking to regroup, trying to find his way past the 2 Monster Energy Khmer Yamahas, but you've got to see, this has got to be the pass. This is where he passed Watson in race 1. Watson, though, closes the door on his teammate from Belgium. And Verlander might just join the party here. He'll find out that Verlander means business, will Jago Kiertz. Can't afford to waste any more time. The gap between Kiertz and Prado up front, 8.5 seconds already.
Yeah, Kiertz was fastest on track. He's got an 8-second gap to make up, but it's promising if he can stay there.
Just looking down the leaderboard, Mitchell Harrison now up into 18th position as Watson. That wouldn't have done the blisters any good on their hand as well, because he would have had to have re-gripped and held on in a different manner, and that he would have felt that. Does well, though, to hold a position. But Verlander ran the outside and coming back on Kiertz as well. So a real good showing this from Verlander, who's looking to find his way past Jago Kiertz here, but Kiertz just dancing his way around to the inside. He cannot afford to lose any positions here on the Yamaha. This is really the first time all weekend that anybody has had a response for Kiertz. Let's see how this goes, but you just have a feeling if Kiertz can stay in that 2:01 time, he'll steadily pull away from these guys. He's up to 3rd now. Verlander in 4, Watson in 5. The guy ahead of him on the Red Bull KTM just out of shot now in orange, Tom Vial. So Vial, another good start. Those KTMs, 1st and 2nd, pretty much every weekend. It's almost an unfair advantage, Jason Thomas, but hey, if it works. Yeah, I don't think either one of those are going to complain, but, you know, they're putting themselves in such positive, you know, positions to succeed, especially for Vial, because I think Prado would be up front regardless. But Vial especially, he's benefiting from the start. Even if he drops back a few places, that still keeps him solidly in the top 5 every single moto. 2:01 lap time for Prado, 7.3 seconds clear of his teammate Vial, who was a 2:03. Kiertz 2:02.5, Verlander in 2:03.1. So Jago Kiertz second fastest in that quartet of riders. Watson is 5th, Olsen 6th, Sterry 7th, Renault 8, Jacoby 9, Osland 10, Guarame 11, Cyril Janot 12, Brian Moreau 13, Morgan Liciardo of Italy 14, Joaquin Fabetta is up to 15. He's just dispatched of Joel Van Mechelen, 17th Ika Larinaga, 18th Mitchell Harrison. His lap time, we're waiting for him to come around to complete lap 3 at the moment, but Harrison was a 2:09.6 last time around. What will it be this time? And Harrison goes through any moment now, does he? Yeah, 2:10 compared to a 2:11 of Larinaga, and there's only 1 second between them, so maybe some more positions in the offering here for the American. Carpenter is at 19, and Lars Griekspoor is the final point scorer at the moment. Darian Sinai outside the points in 23rd. He had a fantastic race in Moto number 1, coming home in 10th, but he's been off, but he's back up and running again. Adam Sterry. Watching Sterry here, he's in contention for an overall podium, but he's going to have to catch Vial. They were near each other in the first moto, but Sterry's got to make a move here. Well, 21 minutes to go. Jorge Prado leads. Vial 2nd, Kiertz 3rd, Verlander in 4th. Ben Watson in 5th as Kiertz goes to 2nd. So Jago Kiertz gets himself into 2nd position then. Easy move on Vial. Here's how he did it. Came over the jump, lined him up, and then went to the inside. Just closed the door. Vial now in 3rd, and obviously this is going to help Sterry, because let's do the podium maths in a moment. So Prado on 50, 2:25, of course, for 2 wins. Jago Kiertz 2nd, 2 lots of 22 on 44. Tom Vial on 38 with a 4th and a 3rd right now. Sterry on 34 with a 3rd and a 7th. So He's got Verlander on 32 and Watson on 32. So as he gains points, he might lose points as well to people like Verlander, because they'll go to 34, and all of a sudden it'll be a three-way fight for the podium. So Sterry in 7th needs to get on terms with the guys in 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Not easy to do, Jason Thomas.
No, you wonder how VL is going to respond here. The first moto, he had a pretty big gap the entire time. He wasn't under pressure like this early. And, you know, he had to expend a ton of energy in that first moto. So with Watson and Verlander, and these guys are absolutely reeling him in. I don't like his chances of holding these guys off, but he's been pretty resilient this year. Despite
hard work in the winter with his new team, KTM, of course, MX2, his rookie season. Tom Vial has made a pretty good fist of it here. 4th in race 1 after sitting 2nd until about 5 laps to go. A similar good start has held him in good stead, just as it has done on so many occasions this year.
Well, he's been such a surprise. I think they expected him to be top 10, hope for top 5s, and he's been steadily there all year. So I think everyone from himself to his team to KTM proper has been pleasantly surprised with his effort.
Looked like Verlander went a little too deep at the base of the jump there, and Watson has capitalized on that. So he's going to put the South African-born Dutch national under pressure. But Vial, you just get the sense that this time of the race now, Vial, he's just, okay, look, guys, if you're going to come by me, come by me. I'm not going to put up a fight. And Verlander goes through. So Verlander now to 3rd with 18 minutes to go. Ben Watson charges down the inside of Tom Vial to move into 4th place. Just a moment ago, Verlander went through to take 3rd. So 2 positions in about 3 corners for Tom Vial on that KTM. There's Watson doing a good job of keeping Verlander here in his sights. Prado leads, though, with 18 minutes plus 2 to go. Hirt 2nd, Verlander in 3rd, Watson 4th, Vial 5th, Olsen 6th, Sterry in 7th place. Jacoby 8th, Osler 9th, Cyril Janot in 10th. Jason Thomas, Jorge Prado at 2:01.5. He's extended his lead by another second over Jago Kietz. That gap now 12 seconds. And that's kind of what we feared would happen at the start of the race here. He needed a good start. He didn't get one. It wasn't bad, but you can't beat a whole shot, can you? Well, and that's the whole thing. He just kind of lulls you to sleep. He didn't seem like he was pulling away by all that much, and then all of a sudden we look up and it's 12 seconds. So he's unbelievable with that. Picture perfect start, smooth first laps, small lead, then that just slowly grows. And you know, by the end of this race, we'll probably be looking at a 20-second gap again. Well, we just saw a clip of Adam Sterry a moment ago. Verlander has now got himself onto the podium, 34 points. Watson is 4th on 34 points. Vial is 5th on 34 points. Sterry 6th on 34 points. So 1 pass between those guys will determine the outcome of this GP. And with Sterry about 3 seconds down and lapping a second slower than Olsen, he's going to have to dig deep if it's going to be him. Watson is going to have to find his way past Verlander if he wants a podium here in the Sand this weekend. Probably against the odds as well, coming back from recent injury. I love races like this. Everyone's tied in points. It's truly who wants it more right now. Everyone can see each other. There's not a huge speed differential. It's all going to be about determination right this second. Verlander looking good here in 3rd place, but Watson not letting him out of his sight, though. And if he can dig deep, then hopefully we'll see the 919 on the podium for the first time this year. He's missed out on several occasions. Twice he's been 4th in Trentino in Italy and in Latvia. But can he just dig in deep? So difficult here for these guys. You know, Ben Watson's hands are probably screaming at him. Their backs hurt. Their legs are getting tired. I mean, looking at the racetrack here, it looks like a normal sand track. Jason Thomas from Fly Racing, but walking around and knowing how this place is, we've both ridden here in the past, it is not an easy racetrack. It's one of those circuits, isn't it, that just saps the energy of the rider and the bike all at the same time. Well, just walking around it, I could see how difficult it is. I've been doing this my whole life, and you can just see the effort these guys are putting in. I would venture to say it's probably the most difficult racetrack, worldwide. And when you see the riders, when they come off the track, these guys are in phenomenal shape, and they just look spent after one moto. So yeah, this is probably the biggest fitness test of any race, motocross race there is on the calendar, both USA or worldwide. Here's Watson. currently sitting fourth, or tied third with Verlander and himself, Vial and Sterry, all on the same points. But Verlander looks like he's just disappeared ever so slightly around the corner. And Watson there, normally up on the pegs, looks like he's just starting to fade a little bit, sitting down too much.
Not much fading from this guy.
No. Saw it yesterday in qualifying. We saw it today in race 1. Just picking his lines and just being very precise and very methodical. Two-time winner here the last 2 years. Looking to make it 3, and no one has won more than 3 GPs around here. Tony Cairoli has 3 in MXGP, so too does Jeffrey Hurlings with his MX2 and his MXGP win last year. And Max Anstey, who's now in MXGP, has won 3 times in MX2 here. So Prado looking to emulate that.
Yeah, reassuring message from his mechanic there, because when you have a 12 or 13 second lead, you probably can't see Geertz very well, and it's really difficult to mark him. So you don't know if there's a big charge coming or what the situation is. That reassuring message saying you're fastest on track, just basically just say, keep doing what you're doing and things will be very easy for you.
Yeah, 2:03 and a 2:04.5, so another half a second, or 1.5 seconds, sorry. That gap now more than 15 seconds between your race leader here, Jorge Prado, on the Red Bull KTM, and Jago Geertz on the Monster Energy Khmer Yamaha. Verlander about 4 seconds behind the Belgian in third for Team HRC, and then Watson just a couple of seconds adrift as well, and slowing now, 2 seconds less than Verlander. But it's Prado who continues to lead with 13.5 minutes to go. Prado just dealing with the back markers here. Takes a brave decision to go around the one who looked over the shoulder there. The 332 of Marcel Koenen on the F&H race in Kawasaki. Didn't phase him though. Once he was committed, he went for it, and that's kind of how he races, doesn't it, Jason Thomas?
Well, I feel like Jorge Prado is the person that causes all of your friends to tell you how easy motorcycle racing is, because they watch him ride and, oh, you just turn the throttle. Yeah, go back a bit in the pack and look at these other guys, because this is not a realistic representation of how difficult this sport is. This guy is on a whole different level. But
when you see how long those ruts are as well, and the lines, you know, the ruts on the jumps, then you've got the braking bumps, accelerating bumps, deep ruts, the back roost where riders are landing, and all the soft patches in and around this racetrack. You know, you're trying to go as fast as you can. You've got a bike moving around underneath you. You're focusing just ahead. You're approaching traffic that you think, well, I hope he can keep a straight line when I come through.
Well, and he really just lets the track work with him. He doesn't fight it, and that sounds easier than it is on a track like this, but you never see him really in making big effort or in trouble anywhere. He really lets the track come to him and takes what it gives him, and it's all about efficiency for him.
Well, so far, 23 race wins under his belt. And that's not bad going. This is round 14, so that'll be out of 28 races. He missed 2. And he's lost a race win in Indonesia, race 2 in Palembang, and race 1 in France to Jago Geertz. But other than that, he's been faultless. And Geertz goes faster than Prado for the first time this race. Here's Jago Geertz, just over 11 minutes plus 2 laps to go. The Yamaha rider in red. For the first time, this race has gone quicker than the race leader. 2:06.8 compared to the 2:08.1 of the championship and race leader, Jorge Prado. The gap, 13.8 seconds. And with 11 minutes to go, if we see that gap coming down, all of a sudden, race 1 was 16 laps. We're at half distance, Jason Thomas.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see what this next lap is. Prado was dealing with a lot of traffic, and he wasn't really taking any chances, so I would not be surprised to see Prado drop back down to a 2:04 or 2:05 this next lap.
And Geertz also having his own problems, but listen to the deep tone of that engine, of that Yamaha there. You know, just riding a gear. We talked about it earlier in one of the first races, just having to have that momentum, the advantage of riding a taller gear around here, you know, that low RPM.
Yeah, they both ride the sand incredibly well. They go about it a little bit differently. Geertz is a little bit heavier into the sand, where Prado is kind of dancing on top of it. both of them obviously very efficient, very fast, just different approaches.
With Prado, he lives just in Lommel, just pretty much across the way, probably 2 or 3K from here or thereabouts. Jago here, it's probably about 10K from here in nearby Berlin. So as kids, they would have spent a lot of time being here, because let's not forget, although Jorge Prado is Spanish, he spent a lot of his childhood living in Lommel and riding these tracks.
Yeah, so we see Prado there go back to the 205, gear to 206. So, yeah, the traffic was the difference there, and now we're back to the same old story. Prado eking his gap out again.
So Jago Kietz running out of time if he's to challenge Prado for an overall victory, but Verlander here is in third. He was a second slower, or about 3/10 slower than Watson last time around, who's still breathing down his neck, but a couple of seconds back. There he is in blue on that Monster Energy Khmer Yamaha. Back marker traffic, Jeremy Hokier there, number 818, does his best to keep out of the way on the North Europe Racing KTM. But this is also good for Verlander, because he's missed a few races being injured, hasn't he? What, 5 races from Portugal, France, Russia, Latvia and Germany. Got a podium in between 2 7ths at the round in Semarang in Asia. Not a bad way to come back from injury after all that time off. Complications with an ankle injury that got infected. But he's in trouble here, because Watson has closed down the gap and looking to take third away if he can. And that'll put Watson on the podium. So I wonder if Watson's had board signals from the mechanics just to say, you need Verlander for third. You're going to have to dig deep.
Yeah, you would think at some point here they've got that message across to him for both guys, right? All 4 of these guys, from Vial to Sterry to Watson to Verlander, and are battling for that last podium spot. And they need to know that that's vital information, because it's going to change their approach.
He leant on Verlander, and Verlander, and sensed the danger, just ran him wide. And Watson's got it all to do again. Sorry to cut across you there, Jason,
no,
but he was just like, he wanted to go for it. Verlander didn't want to give it up. Watch this. You thought you got it made here, but guess what? You can't turn it down, because there's a Honda right there where you want to be.
Yeah, Watson, I think Watson believed that was going to be much dirtier than it was, and yeah, Verlander just moved him out of the way.
So then Verlander has to dig deep to keep that gap then between him and Watson, as they continue to fight over third in the race and third overall in the Grand Prix here. Remember, it's round 14 of the FIM Motocross World Championship, the MXGP of Belgium. Here we are at Lommel. And for sure, Watson, well, despite that mistake, a 2:06.7, so 4/10 quicker than Verlander, and so you sense that he's got some something left in the tank, Watson.
Yeah, and I would have thought he wouldn't have a whole lot. He's still coming back from an injury, really. Indonesia wasn't that long ago, and the blister problem we've talked about. So it's a pretty resilient ride. A lot of, you can tell there's a lot of want to in this, but overall podiums don't come around all that often, so you have to seize the opportunity.
Slight bobble there for Verlander as well as he came out of the turn. He was turning right, stood up, and had to sort of go left, right, back into the berm. Might have cost him a little bit of time, and you can see the urgency in which Watson is now riding.
Well, this is big for Khmer Yamaha, too. To have 2 of their guys on the podium would be huge. For, you know, most of the teams are based around here at their hometown race. So, you know, Watson wants to make that happen as well.
Can he get on the podium? Just the one last year with this team, Ben Watson. Not had the easiest of seasons, but if he can manage it here this weekend, as difficult as this racetrack is, with the conditions as warm as they are, with the little amount of prep time, with his hands blistered up to whatever, then that will just be mind-blowing for him and the rest of the team. But 6 minutes 20 plus 2 laps to go. Prado continues to lead from Geertz, Verlander, Watson and Vial. Here's Ben Watson. Looks like he may have lost that opportunity and maybe lost the belief, or maybe just the number 10 of Verlander has sensed an opportunity to pull clear. This was the move around the outside. Watson, at that point, they're almost side by side. Watson stays a little bit lower to the left, jumps further as well, crucially. But the fight from Verlander just puts Watson higher than he needed to be, and from there, Watson now just starting to lose ground.
Yeah, you wonder what that move did to him, if it's mental or physical. He's still back there, but for now, the challenge is over. 2:07s
for Geertz, Verlander and Watson. But Watson 4/10 slower than the two guys ahead of him. Prado now 20 seconds clear with the 2:05.2 on lap 11. This is lap 12, and 5 minutes plus 2 laps remain. Traffic all over the place. Here's Jago Kietz. This is how he's made his way through traffic. Currently in second position, but he went around Sterry to take over 6th place. And then Jacobi to move into 5th. Olsen to move up into 4th. And at that point, he was still pretty fresh. Then Verlander. And then Watson was just ahead of him. So he was in 8th when he started this whole sequence. He was helped there by his teammate just getting a little bit loose. And it was an easy one on Vial in the end. From there, he's opened up about 5 seconds or thereabouts over Verlander, and Vial has faded to 35 seconds off the lead. Verlander still on the podium. Watson tying on points with him. Vial and Sterry all on 34 points. And Jacobi has found his way past Sterry, so Sterry has lost his opportunity for a potential podium, because he's not going to close in on Olsen unless Jacobi and himself can work together now, because they're all pretty much locked together. Kietz just going out of shot there. Just over 3.5 minutes plus 2 laps remain here. MX2 Race 2, the MXGP of Belgium at Lommel. My name's Paul Maiden. Alongside me, Jason Thomas from Fly Racing. Jorge Prado continues to lead. He's hit the line for the 12th time, 23 seconds clear of Jago Kietz. And Verlander just 4 seconds further back in 3rd for HRC. And 2 Kawasaki's go down. Jacobi down, and Sterry wasn't sure if his teammate had gone down or not, but then they both picked themselves up. So drama here then, watch this. Oh, he just got completely crossed up there, and he lands, and it was good for him that he didn't come into land. He'd already sensed the danger, but didn't know what was the other side. Already committed to the line, Adam Sterry. And right in full view of the team manager here, Natalie Farze. And you can see the disappointment on the face of the mechanics as well, because riders feel it and mechanics feel it, Jason Thomas, because the hard work from both sides, you know, to try and get a result, potential podium or just a good finish, and that's just cost the team dearly. Yeah, shades of Teutschenthal there. Oh, Sterry off the track again, so it's unraveling here for him. Doesn't gain an advantage there. It was a back marker ahead of him anyway. But Adam Sterry then was in, well, he came through in 8th place, so yeah, that's going to cost him, it's going to put him 6th overall now. Didn't change a whole lot for him. He was behind this whole pack that are tied in points, but still frustrating. Yeah, he needs 2 points now to get on the podium. He's currently on 33. The guys ahead of him still there on 34. So Prado continues to lead, though. Adam Sterry, that just looked like it sucked the wind out of his sails. He made a slight mistake in the qualifying race yesterday that broke his rhythm and his concentration, and he's just done the same here, so he just needs to regroup. But this late in the race, you know, almost 30 minutes into the race, and one mistake like that, that's difficult to it's not impossible, but it's difficult to overcome that. Yeah, with especially here. No one really right in front of him. It's just survival mode at this point. 44, Morgan Leciado in 13th place, so he goes by Jacobi. Jacobi's still cycling in 12th, and it didn't look like it was a big crash, but obviously he's gone down, probably not winded himself, but just trying to regroup. Goggles are off, trying to get some air probably into the helmet there, you know. Yeah, crashing this late in the race, the heat hits you, everything hits you, your heart rate skyrockets. It's a tough deal, and now it looks like he may be able to put his goggles back on because he probably can't see anything, but I mean, it's more or less over for him at this point. Just needed some time just to regroup there, get some air under that helmet, and get the goggles back on. But I wonder how much sand is in those goggles now as well from just those few corners. Wouldn't be surprised if he has to stop again or take him off again. But anyway, here's Calvin Verlander, and he is in third place. He's 6 seconds clear now, or thereabouts, over Watson. Watson just coming out of turn 2 behind him. Mitchell Harrison, incidentally, now up in the 14th place. He fell at turn 1 on the opening lap. Then the Bud Racing Kawasaki rider is about 17 seconds down on Morgan Leciado, so doesn't like he's going to advance any further. He might have caught and passed Jacoby while he took a pit stop, but it's highly unlikely.
Impressive stuff from Verlander in here. Watson was all over him, actually made the pass, and he responded and has actually pulled back out. So we were wondering who was going to step up, who wanted the podium the most, and yeah, Verlander made the move.
There was a guy in red on the Yamaha just cruising at the side of the track there. Who was that? I think, I'm hoping that it wasn't Jago Kietz. It was Jago Kietz.
Heartbreak.
So Jago Kietz is out of the race, out of podium contention. And that is heartbreak for Jago Kietz and Monster Energy Khmer Yamaha. He cruised not to a stop, but over on the far side of the circuit, and he is out of the race. Just came in. Well, it didn't even look like he jumped. It was obviously something the other side of the jump here. Just already coasting, trying to fire up the bike, but he knew, and Verlander goes by into second. And that's going to put Verlander on the box in second place.
Yeah, that's tough to deal with. Mechanical difficulties, especially when you've got a podium locked up. Yeah, what do you say? Tough break.
So that bumps everybody up. A position is who's going to benefit? Will Watson now get on the podium as well? You would have to assume yes. At the expense of his teammate. But look at this guy here, dancing around like he's just on a training run again, making it look pretty easy. Here's Watson. He's third in the race. He's going to be third overall, I think. We'll have to wait and see. Might not be, you know. Let's have a look. Let's wait for everything to catch up. Prado on 50. Jago Kietz, yeah, because Kietz is nowhere. He's not going to be in there. His scores won't be counted. Yeah, Watson has corrected third. They're all still tied, though, on 36 points. Looking around. He's got about 13 seconds over Vial, so it's his to lose now, Watson. So they've gone from second overall with Jago Kietz, 2 second places, to third overall with Ben Watson in the space of a lap. And this has to be one of the toughest races for Ben Watson as well, given the, you know, the lack of ride time, the hands being blistered, and no prep, no ride time. Not easy to hold on to a motorcycle when you're when you can't really hold on the way you want to. Grip the grips.
You wonder if he saw Geertz there, that would breathe some life back into him, knowing he's back on the podium. You would think you would had to have seen him there, but man, what a tough break. Your heart goes out to Geertz. That's after all that effort of the first moto, fighting all the way back up to second, to have it ripped away, man. That's tough.
Here's Jacoby getting lapped. He's in 12th place on the F&H Racing Kawasaki. He knows that Prado is coming through, but difference in fitness and ability and technique in the sand just right there. Still making the distances over the jumps. Still doubling his way and tripling his way through braking bumps and accelerating bumps and all of that. Decided not to jump the gap this time.
He just looks like he's on top of the bumps all the time. He's never deep or never out of shape. He hits the bumps with the angles he wants. You know, he just floats through these corners.
I mean, we saw it last year when he was world champion. You would have seen it when he was Redbird at the Motocross Nations in difficult conditions. He was by far the best MX2 rider there.
Yeah.
Definitely, would you say that he's improved? Is a more refined rider in the space of last year, September?
Well, sure. I mean, last year he still had some vulnerabilities. If it was really hot, if the track didn't suit him, he was still great, but not on this level. I mean, he's in such control of this series now. I just don't see a situation. You know, maybe the heat of Indonesia, he was vulnerable and he still found a way to win. He's just got everything in place, and I was questioning if he was ready to go to MXGP. I don't question that anymore.
Verlander there in second, Watson in third, and Prado a lapse in concentration on the final lap. Well, there's just one little mistake there from Jorge Prado. Doesn't happen often, but we saw it in Indonesia sort of early on in the race, and it was a teammate that went by, but we also saw Cairoli crash here a year ago in exactly the same place. Just a, look at that, just the front went in, the back came round, just a reaction from the suspension.
Yeah, I think I jinxed him, had to have.
But here he is, he's in cruise mode now though, barring that one little mistake.
Helps to have a 30-second advantage going into the final lap.
Yeah. And takes a long look back. Yeah, just a quick pull of the roll off there as he goes past the pit lane, past the crew. And Jorge Prado makes his way to the Monster Energy finish line. Another double moto win, but a mistake there on the final lap, maybe just taking some of the shine off of it, but he won't care about that. It's another 50 points. Olsen is in 5th place, so there's going to be a massive points haul there as well, and it's looking good once again. Verlander comes home in 2nd, and 2nd overall. A 7th and a 2nd for him, for Team HRC. And 3rd will be Ben Watson. Here he is for Monster Energy Khmer Yamaha. Should have been his teammate on the podium, second, you know, 2 second-place finishes, but he went out with a mechanical issue or something anyway, wasn't right. Whether it might have just been him just being burnt out, I don't know, but difficult to throw away a 2nd if that was the case. But Watson, fantastic 3rd overall here this weekend, and his first podium visit of the year. So your top 3 here this weekend: Jorge Prado, Red Bull KTM, Calvin Verlander and Team HRC, Ben Watson on the podium for the first time for Monster Energy Khmer Yamaha. Jorge Prado then takes his 11th double moto win of the season. And here he is, getting ready to speak to Lisa Leyland.
Okay, Prado, congratulations. 2 Foxhole shots, another double moto victory. A little lapse in concentration at the end there. Tell us about your race and tell us what happened at the end.
It was a good race, had a whole shot. That was my goal for that second moto. Do not suffer too much on behind riders. And, you know, that last lap, I had more than 30 seconds lead. And I was still trying to put a bit bigger in the last lap. And lost a bit in my hand and just went down. So luckily I had that gap. And, no, very happy about today. My 3rd GP win of Lommel in a row. 3 GPs here, wins. So happy and perfect weekend.
Great job. Thank you.
Jorge Prado then takes another 1-1 here, 11 now for the season. His 12th win in a row, his 13th win of the season, 28 Grand Prix career victories now, and his 3rd in a row here at Lommel. Jason Thomas from Flight Racing, another impressive performance from the young number 61.
If you're wondering how it's done, that's how it's done. That was an incredible performance. Really never questioned all weekend. As much as we thought Geertz would give him a run, he really couldn't.
Here's the official confirmation then from MX2 Race 2. Jorge Prado on top once again. Verlander in 2nd, Watson 3rd, Vial 4th, Olsen 5th, Alvin Osland 6th. Adam Sterry and Maxime Renault coming home in 8th. Brian Moreau 9 and Cyril Genot 10. Morgan Leciado was 11 ahead of Henry Jacobi. Mitchell Harrison got to 13th in the end, of course, at the expense of Jorge Prado, but he'll take that. Ika Larinaga 14, Boirame, Sanna, Sanai, Panzer, Pessoa and Carpenter rounding out the points. Overall, this weekend, there's your top 3. Prado, Verlander and Watson. Good to see the Brit on the podium. And 5th for Adam Sterry. Just started to fade. Maybe that mistake with his teammate would have seen him on the podium when Geertz went out. So he'll be having mixed emotions tonight. And the championship looks like this: 644 for Prado, and Olsen parked there on 520, 124 points now. All of a sudden, you've gone from 90 to 124 in the space of 1 weekend.
Yeah, we're talking championship now. So, you know, it was almost guaranteed, but maybe a championship weekend next week.
Jed Beaton wasn't here this weekend. Cracked sternum after a training incident this weekend. But KTM, wow. Look at that, 682 points, 545 for Husqvarna, but Austria on top either way.
Yeah, it's been domination all season.
So let's take a look at the foxhole shot then, shall we?
We have to rename this after Prado.
Not a lot in it, but once again, the KTM's 1 and 2 over the line. And for Jorge Prado, number 19 now in the books. Getting ready for the podium. Any time now. So podium getting ready up there, just above the start line, the skybox area. And all looks nice and calm and serene. The guys have just been through a bit of a war zone with the track being as brutal as it is. Everything looks nice and calm here just in front of the start gate.
Yeah, these guys will be very happy to take their gear off and relax for a bit. It's been a long weekend for these guys.
Right, getting ready then for the podium here, as we just mentioned a moment ago. Third overall, Ben Watson.
Love to
Good
see
on
that.
you, mate. The Monster Energy Khmer Yamaha rider finally makes it to the podium this year. And what was that, a 5.3? So he'll be pleased with that. Not sure if Mum and Dad have made it this weekend, but if they have, they'll be jumping for joy as well. Calvin Verlander, second overall, Team HRC. And your overall winner. Were we in any doubt, Jason Thomas?
No, there he is, Jorge Prado, his 200th win in a row.
So 24 race wins for the season.
That was close.
Yeah. 28 Grand Prix victories, 13 this year, 12 of those in a row. The only one he missed was Matterley Base in round 2, where he was injured. Davide Di Carli will collect the team award over there on the left-hand side. But trophies are going to be dished out here. It's good to see different trophies for different classes, of course. We had 125 European Championship accident presented by FMF Racing. But Jack van Belthoven, the Lommel MX Track president, handing him his 3rd place trophy. Second for Calvin Verlander. Another one for the mantelpiece. Sophie Loops, Lommel Alderman. Not sure what that means, but maybe a sponsor or something like that.
Sounds fancy.
It does sound very fancy. And to the winner. Home GP, if you like, for Jorge Prado. Bert Lambrechts, Limburg province. Did that say deputy at the end there? It just went so fast. And always great when we are welcome back to these kind of places. Just recent, the FIM board member, handing the team trophy to Davide Di Carli, Red Bull KTM Factory Racing. Of course, just the red plate, but that gap now is not quite unassailable, but it's looking more and more difficult. Jorge Prado takes the championship leader's red plate from Antonio Alia Patella. But there's your top 3 here. Jorge Prado, Calvin Verlander, and Ben Watson. Top 3 here this weekend. Jorge Prado, Red Bull KTM Factory Racing. Calvin Verlander, Team HRC. Ben Watson, Monster Energy Khmer Yamaha with his first podium of the season. And you saw the delight and the relief on his face. But these guys will enjoy their fun in the sun up there on the podium. We will talk to them the other side of the best moments.
Jorge Prado, congratulations. 2 Foxhole shots, 2 brilliant races for you, extended championship lead. Did you enjoy it, or was it as tough out there as everyone's saying?
I was enjoying it, honestly. I'm pretty good prepared, and I came to this GP very good. So, no, I was enjoying it. You need to have the right mentality coming to this GP, and you know it's going to be a tough one. You're going to suffer, and I was mentally prepared for this, and I enjoyed. Got good starts, good rhythm. Pity crash on the last lap, but anyway, you know, got a win, and so happy. Looking for this next one, and we are getting closer to the title.
Congratulations, Jorge. Second overall today, we have Calvin Verlander. And Calvin, you really had to dig deep to defend that 3rd position with Watson on your back wheel. Great to see you back on the podium, especially after the injuries and everything.
Yeah, it feels good to be back. Obviously, this is a goal every weekend. We come to be on the podium. So obviously, first race I wasn't too happy about it. I put it down when I was in 6th position, went back to like 12, had to come back, and I didn't really expect to come on the podium second race. I just said to my team, I'm going to have fun out there and try to get a good start, and you need to have fun out there. It's such a tough track. But, you know, I did that, and unlucky, I don't know what happened to Iago, but his bike stopped. And, yeah, I came into 2nd position and held it to the end. So good fight with Ben. It was nice to battle with him again. A good friend of mine. So, yeah, we look forward to the next few races and keep working.
Great job. Thanks, Calvin. 3rd overall today, we have Ben Watson. Ben, I spoke to you at the beginning of the weekend. You're on the podium. You're not 100%. Your first race back after injury. A little bit at the expense of your teammate, but you put so much work in this weekend, and it's paid off.
Yeah, of course, I'm absolutely gutted for my teammate, but I came in here not even really knowing what to expect. You know, I've rode 2 times in the past 6 weeks, and, you know, I came here the toughest Grand Prix of the year, and I just gave absolutely everything, but, you know, none of it would have happened without, you know, the whole Khmer Yamaha team and Yamaha for being so supportive. And, yeah, my girlfriend, my mum and dad, yeah, Jut Life, John Lewagans, everybody's just like... Everybody's been part of this, and it's all for you. Thank you so much.
Well deserved, Ben. Thank you.
Yeah, he deserves it as well. Ben Watson on the podium, Montrange Khmer Yamaha. Not easy riding with the challenges that he had to face, Jason Thomas.
No, you love to see that. You can see the just satisfaction and happiness. I mean, these podiums, especially at a track like this, don't come easy, and he earned it. You know, Geertz had some bad luck there, but nothing comes easy on this track.
And what about Calvin Verlander, Team HRC? 2 solid rides, 7 in race 1, 2nd in race 2. Is it to the podium?
Well, I think after that 7th in the first moto, if you'd have told him he was going to end up 2nd overall, he would have kissed you. So, yeah, absolutely leaving here. No one's going to touch Prado at the moment, so 2nd's about as good as it's going to get.
Yeah, another 2 wins in the books for Jorge Prado on a Red Bull KTM factory racing machine. And he extends his points lead as well to 124 over Thomas Olsen with just, 4 rounds to go. Italy, Sweden, Turkey and China